Angelina Jolie's feud with her father began during her childhood. His father was a great actor who won an Academy Award for Best Actor. However, when Angelina was just 2 years old, he had an affair with a fellow actor, which led to a divorce. Angelina missed her father so much that watching him in movies helped her fill that void. Her mother worked a variety of jobs to support Angelina and her 2 other children, but it was hard to escape poverty. One day, her mother saw Angelina's blonde hair, which was different from her own but looked more like her father's, and could not bear it, as it too was a sign of her departed husband. She immediately went out and bought some dye and dyed Angelina's hair the same brown as her own. Angelina liked this hair color so much that she started to maintain the dark hair color from that point on. The only comfort for Angelina's family of 3, who suffered from poverty and isolation, was the movie theater. Compared to the dark reality, the world of movies, full of dreams and hope, was so attractive that Angelina was completely immersed in the virtual world, and she began to dream of becoming an actor herself. For her, a twist of fate happened. At the age of 7, she was cast in a movie. However, the star of this movie was a father who had just left home. Not only that, but Stacy Pickering, the woman her father had an affair with, was also set to star in the movie. And it was decided that her mother would also play a small role in the movie. The chaotic atmosphere on set, with her father, mother, and her father's lover all involved, was difficult for young Angelina to accept. The filming of this movie caused Angelina to start suffering from anxiety and insomnia. As a teenager, Angelina thought she didn't belong in this world. Because she was poor, she always bought her clothes from thrift stores, wore old clothes that didn't fit her well, and even had thick lips and braces, which made her a constant laughingstock. As this bullying continued, one day Angelina started dressing only in black from head to toe, revealing an extremely gloomy personality and ultimately being unable to adapt to school life. Her mother, watching her behavior, eventually made Angelina voluntarily withdraw from school. At the time, Angelina had a boyfriend, but her mother became worried and told her to stay with him and let her live with him when she was 14 years old. 2 years later, when she turned 16, Angelina broke up with her boyfriend, the only friend she had who understood her. Again, the terrible loneliness overtook her. At the time, her brother was a college theater and film major making student films, and whenever he needed a young actor, he would contact his sister and ask her to act. The filming of the movie she participated in, without much thought, rekindled a fire in Angelina's heart. So she decided to enroll in a film and acting school. The person who had the biggest influence on her acting development was her father, whom Angelina hated so much. When she found herself forced to actually study acting, she began to reevaluate her father's acting habits. Since she thought he was the best actor she knew, she realized that observation was the answer. Her father would always observe people, talk to them, pick up on their habits, and then imitate their exact speech and behavior. Angelina approached the character in a similar way and showed great potential at a young age. After being acknowledged by her film school teacher, Angelina mustered up the courage to go and audition for a film company. However, no one picked her because she looked gloomy. Ironically, this dark image appealed to some in the modeling world, and while she wasn't able to make it into movies, she was able to land a few commercials and music videos. Time passed, and when she turned 18, Angelina finally got her chance to star in a movie. Moreover, it was a very difficult character to act as for her first lead role, because this character was a cyborg, not a human. Despite her passionate performance, featuring many revealing scenes and even some action scenes, the movie was only released for video and was a dismal failure. On the day she saw the movie with great anticipation, she thought it was a flop and thought her naked scenes would be seen by the whole world. When she got home, she cried until she vomited. The movie's failure wasn't something Angelina could just laugh off. In her life, where she had always been bullied and failed, acting was the only thing that made her feel recognized for the first time. But now, even that has become the laughingstock of others in an instant. Due to the scars from that incident, Angelina locked herself in her room for a year and didn't attend a single audition. She decided to just live life as she pleased, without thinking about anything. She cut her hair short, started wearing only black clothes, and forgot how to laugh. However, life is full of unexpected changes that occur by chance. A film director who saw Angelina in this dark look started to become interested in her. He was thinking of a dark character and offered Angelina a role in a movie. Angelina ended up starring in the crime film Hackers, which tells the story of a group of high school hackers. The film was a flop when it was first released, but gained popularity after the video was released. And Angelina's looks and acting skills were also praised by the public. Although regaining her confidence in acting was a major benefit, the real reason this movie changed Angelina's life was something else. She began dating Johnny Lee Miller, who starred with her in the film, and they ended up getting married within a year. Angelina made a sensational appearance at this wedding. Instead of a pure white dress, she showed up wearing black trousers and a white shirt with her husband's name inscribed in her own blood. Even after getting married, Angelina's dark side did not disappear, and this dark image and values influenced her subsequent roles. One of the most representative of these films is a 1998 movie that depicts the life of Gia Karangi, a supermodel who came into the spotlight in the 1980s for her androgynous charm. She was a tragic figure whose depression led to drug addiction and ultimately led to her death from AIDS at the young age of 26. Angelina perfectly captured the transition from supermodel beauty to drug-addled ruin. Her struggles with depression and drug addiction are similar to her past, and she also made use of her experience as a model in her teens. This movie earned her a Golden Globe Award and helped her gain recognition as an actress. But as she played a character that reflected her own depressing past, she found herself identifying with her former self again. As time passed, she was no longer able to separate reality from reality, and at one point she disappeared for weeks, phoning her husband from the set and telling him she was dying. Ultimately, this mental instability led to divorce, and the new guy she met is an actor named Billy Bob Thornton, who she met while filming her next movie. At the time, he had been divorced 4 times, and there was a 20-year age gap between him and Angelina. So many people didn't think the relationship would last. However, shortly after they started dating, the couple suddenly announced their marriage. More surprising was the sight at their wedding. When they entered the venue wearing necklaces containing each other's blood and with large tattoos of their names on their arms. Even after getting married, Angelina was emotionally unstable and decided to commit herself to a psychiatric hospital. Even after they got married, she would sleep with a knife by her bedside table. Billy later said that Angelina was really scary during this time. After this, Angelina went on to star in a movie that focused on the lives of patients living in a psychiatric hospital. This film attracted public attention because it was the first time in a long while that Winona Ryder, who had achieved great popularity in the 1990s, would be starring in a film. In fact, it was Angelina who stole the spotlight in this movie, not Winona Ryder. Despite being a supporting role, she was praised for having a greater presence than the lead actor and attracted a lot of attention. As a result, she even won the Academy Award for Best Actress. Thus, from the beginning of her debut, Angelina's roles that were highly praised were always dark characters. No actor could portray these dark emotions and actions better than Angelina, who has experienced them firsthand. This is when Angelina's heyday really began. She surprised many people by starring in a movie based on a game and transforming into an action star. Angelina caught the limelight by perfectly recreating the glamorous figure and thick lips of the original game character. She performed all the action scenes and established herself as the actress's top action star of the time. Although the movie itself was not well received, it was a huge commercial success, especially since it was based on a popular game. This movie also marked a major event in Angelina Jolie's personal life. She acted in the movie alongside her father, with whom she became increasingly hostile over the years. At the time, her father also strongly criticized his daughter in a public interview. Angelina has filed a legal petition to remove her father's surname, Voight, from her name. The relationship between the two is extremely bad. But surprisingly, the sad parent-child relationship they played in the movie was so similar to their own real-life misunderstandings that they got so emotional that they had to stop filming, both of them in tears. Fortunately, the filming of this movie helped them to feel more at ease with each other, and the father and daughter dramatically reconciled. There was another incident where this movie had a big impact on Angelina. It was a big incident that completely changed her values. When she visited Cambodia to film a movie, she found that the country was full of people who did not know their parents, had no time to think about their future, and were wandering the streets in search of food every day. She realized that what she had taken for granted was a matter of life and death for them, and that there were many people in the world who were less fortunate than her. She donated over $700,000 to the United Nations Refugee Agency and returned to Cambodia to volunteer, even though filming had finished. By immersing herself in volunteer work, she finally found a purpose in her life, which had been meaningless up until then. Her self-esteem also increased, and the depression she had felt up until then melted away like snow. One day, Angelina found an orphan child, so she made a big decision to adopt the child and become a mother. Her husband at the time, Billy, was against the decision, and her father was also strongly opposed. However, Angelina stuck to her original decision. Angelina ended up adopting a boy and soon after divorced her husband. However, Angelina did not regret her decision. She then quit drinking, taking drugs, and everything else that was destroying her. Angelina further established herself as an action star in Tomb Raider 2. And yet she continued to receive love calls from another action movie. The movie that changed Angelina's life once again was Mr. and Mrs. Swift. She co-starred with Brad Pitt as a married couple of assassins. The two grew closer while filming this movie, and in the same year that the movie was released, Brad Pitt and his wife Jennifer Aniston finalized their divorce settlement. During this time, the public called them the Brangelina couple, and they became the hottest topic in the film industry. The couple soon had a child together, and she continued to work in films even as her belly grew larger. She mainly starred in animations where she didn't have to appear in person. After giving birth and regaining her strength, she returned to the film industry and played roles that required full body exertion. It was a huge hit all over the world. There were many scenes that were fresh and stylish for the time, such as a scene in which a car traveling at incredible speed spins around and picks up a person, and a scene in which a bullet is sent flying like a curveball using the snap of an arm. Angelina loved the unique thrill she got from filming an action movie. In Salt, Angelina plays a suspected Russian spy on the run from her home country. It was a much more dangerous shoot than any action movie she had ever done. That's because the movie was originally written with the male protagonist in mind. Moreover, the movie was planned to star actor Tom Cruise, who excels at performing extremely dangerous scenes directly. However, Tom Cruise ended up dropping out because the character was too similar to the one he starred in Mission Impossible. The production team believed that Angelina would be able to respond with powerful action that was on par with Tom Cruise. So they changed the main character's gender to female, even revised the script, and suddenly cast Angelina. The scene where she runs barefoot on the railing of a 12-story skyscraper. The scene where she jumps onto a moving truck from a 10 meters high elevated road. The scene where she races on a motorbike between narrow spaces between cars. Angelina acted out all the scenes herself. As a result, she was injured to the point of having scars on her face. Despite the movie's somewhat hackneyed storyline, Angelina's presence and performance were highly praised, and the movie became a huge hit around the world. However, during this time of career growth, Angelina experienced a tragic event. It was the death of her mother. Her mother died at a young age from breast cancer. After this incident, Angelina heard that cancer has a genetic component and she got tested. The results were unexpected: 87% chance of developing breast cancer, 50% chance of developing ovarian cancer. To prevent this, she would have had to undergo major surgery to remove both her breasts and her ovaries. After much deliberation, Angelina decided to have the surgery for the sake of her children. Having had her breasts and ovaries removed and going into menopause, she said bravely, "I may not be able to have more children, and I may experience changes in appearance due to hormonal changes, but that doesn't mean I will lose my femininity." Due to the surgery, Angelina took a break from filming to rest. And 3 years passed. Her comeback role was in the Disney film Maleficent, where she portrayed the sinister and wicked Maleficent in the original novel, as a warm-hearted character full of maternal love, which drew much attention. Because of the incredible costumes, there are some funny anecdotes that arose while filming the movie. With its huge horns, sunken eyes, and bright red lips, this terrifying figure brought tears to the child actor's eyes during filming. While the staff was racking their brains over this unexpected problem, they saw Angelina's daughter, who had come to watch the filming, casually touching her mother's horns as she played. In the end, there was a suggestion to have Angelina's daughter play the child role, and it turned out to be an interesting situation in which her daughter actually ended up playing Maleficent's daughter. Since it was her first time acting, her daughter didn't move as instructed, but Brad Pitt guided her movements and the whole family did their best. The movie perfectly fulfilled its role as a traditional Disney family movie and was a huge hit around the world that year. After her successful comeback, Angelina was once again in the spotlight all over the world, but it was her family circumstances that held her back. Around this time, her marriage to Brad Pitt began to fall apart. Because of this, every time Brad Pitt shot a new movie, he was constantly accused of having an affair with his co-star. Additionally, Brad Pitt's alcoholism was at its peak during this time, and friction at home was becoming more severe. As their relationship got worse, Angelina suggested they did a movie together to try and improve their relationship. 10 years ago, the two developed a mutual liking for each other while filming a movie, and she hoped that as they developed deeper dialogue and empathy through filming, their estranged relationship might improve. Angelina directed and wrote the movie By the Sea herself, and she and her husband starred in it. The two star as a married couple in a difficult marriage, with Brad Pitt's character being an alcoholic and Angelina's character struggling with depression due to infertility. In the movie, after many twists and turns, the couple reconciles and finds a hopeful situation. But their real life was different from the movie. In 2016, Angelina filed for divorce from Brad Pitt, and the two had a lengthy legal battle and were unable to reach a complete agreement, but eventually agreed to live 5 minutes away from each other for the sake of their children. Angelina may be in her late 40s now, but she still looks just as good as an action queen in her 20s. This is often seen in Those Who Wish Me Dead. In the movie, Angelina plays a firefighter who rushes into a massive forest fire to save a boy being chased by assassins. Not only did she have to hold her breath while filming underwater, but she also performed the wire action of jumping off a 20 meters high fire watchtower herself. And Angelina's facial expressions were amazing, conveying the fear and anxiety of someone who had actually seen a forest fire. Actually, this was a real forest fire. It wasn't CG, it was a scene shot with a real forest fire. They planted trees in the middle of the desert, created a giant forest, and then set up special equipment to create a terrifying, blazing forest fire. The movie received poor reviews for its storyline, but Angelina's undiminished action and emotional acting were well received. And Angelina's exploits continue in the Marvel Universe. Angelina is currently still in the process of a custody lawsuit with Brad Pitt, and there have been frequent rumors recently that she has rekindled her relationship with her first husband. Photographs celebrating their birthdays together and going on a dinner date, sparking speculation on the internet that Angelina may be remarrying her ex-husband.